Does Felicia really want answers from Rich, or does she just want a storyline? That's what it's really starting to feel like. I saw somebody make that valid point, and I cannot agree more, because it just feels like Felicia is running around aimlessly after Rich, but it seems like she don't even really want the man that bad. We see Rich in this last episode. Apparently he's been out of jail for a few days, and Felicia hasn't been able to get in contact with him, so she's thinking the absolute worst. Like, he went back to Texas and he just has a family in Texas. So she thinks that he may be cheating on her. So she decides to do a pop-up on him in Texas, and she's on her way to Texas while Rich has no idea, and he's sitting there at his house with his sister, and he's got himself a nice little house. It seems like he's doing well for himself. At first, when the sister walked up, I thought, oh, is this the wife that Felicia's thinking that he's married to still? But come to find out, it was Rich's sister, and Rich revealed that he had to go to jail for a week, but he's trying to make it sound like he went to jail for a week because he was driving being black. He's like, yeah, I got busted with a couple grams of weed. And I know Texas is strict when it comes to marijuana, but when he said he went and spent a week in jail for marijuana, I'm like, okay, I know Texas can be strict, but I'm like, damn, just off like a blunt of marijuana, you did a whole week and you're acting like this is your first offense. It definitely made me raise an eyebrow. But shout out to All Things Lockup on Instagram. They ended up looking into Rich's arrest, and they found out that Rich wasn't being fully honest when he was describing his arrest. So he actually got arrested twice in 2025. He got arrested in January 2020. Why can't I talk? January of 2025 for marijuana and gun possession, and he was arrested and he ended up getting out, and as part of his stipulations of his arrest, he had to be on community supervision. So he had to go meet up with his PO, he had to stay clean, I'm sure he had to take drug tests, he had to pay supervision fees, and I guess he was like, screw all that, I'm not going to follow the rules. I'm just going to do what I want to do. And then in September, 9 months later, he ended up getting arrested again. And this is the arrest that we saw on the show where he claimed that he got arrested and spent a week in jail. He got arrested again in September, and that week he spent in jail wasn't just for weed. He got busted with the weed in January, but when he spent a week in jail, it's because he was not cooperating with his community supervision. He stopped meeting with his PO. He wasn't calling his PO and letting his PO know where he was at. He wasn't allowed to leave the country, and he just up and left the country without telling his PO or getting permission. So he ended up getting locked up from January 25th until January 30th for a little under a week due to that. And it's like, okay, dude, why did you leave that part out where you weren't talking to your PO? Like, you think you can just get in trouble and just go ghost and nothing's gonna happen to you? Rich was sitting there talking to his sister, and he was venting about his issues with Felicia, like how Felicia hasn't been off his ass because she wants him to show her the divorce papers. And Rich says, look, I'm divorced, and it sounds like the sister's co-signing what he's saying, and she knows that Rich is divorced, so she's like, why don't you just show her the divorce papers? I don't understand what the big deal is. But Rich was like, look, I got this big-ass house, and it could be anywhere in here, and if it's like that, dude, then just go to the local courthouse, or reach out to the lawyer that handled your case, or you can go online most of the time and print off your divorce documents so you can just show Felicia to get her to be quiet. If that was Rich, I would just want to do that so I can stop getting bitched at every single day about possibly still being married. And then Felicia, she decides to get some of her family members. Is this her aunt, or like, I don't even know, like, is this her family, or I guess, I don't know, I'm confused because they're saying family members, but then I saw somewhere on social media where they're not technically her family. I think like Felicia probably doesn't have a lot of family, so I'm kind of starting to think maybe these are just family members who are saying like, oh, that's my cousin, you know, how some people say that, but that's not your actual cousin, just because they've been close like cousins their whole life. But we see Felicia, and she's headed down to Texas to do this big old pop-up on Rich, and she keeps talking about how she needs answers, she needs this storyline, and she is in the car with her, I don't even know what to call them, I guess family members. I don't know if what they were saying on the TikTok was actually true, though, about them not being family members, because they claim they're Sicilian, and that's all we hear them talk about. I swear, if we hear if you took a drink every single time that Felicia said Sicilian in an episode, oh my gosh, you would have to go to the ER after the episode for alcohol poisoning. She says it so much, like it's her whole damn personality. But anyway, she's riding with her family, and they're like, yeah, so what's up with Rich? Have you gave it up to him yet? And she's like, no, I didn't give it up to him, but I did let him lick me from the front to the back. So she claims day one, as soon as she was released, he was licking the coochie, he was licking the booty hole. But she's trying to convince the world that she did not let him stick it in. I'm not buying that at all. There's no way that you let him lick all up and down you, and then you're just like, oh, no, but you're not going to stick it in. I mean, at least she let him do something, but I'm not buying that you didn't let him hit a home run. I think Felicia's trying to, like, come off as, like, this wholesome, all-American girl that doesn't sleep on the first night or hook up with someone on the first night. But it's like, girl, we see right through that facade. Like, it is not working. And I think it's either that or her family was probably like, hey, if you're going to do it with Rich, it's probably not in your best interest to brag about it on national TV. But I mean, girl, if I was in your shoes, I'd rather admit that he stuck it in before I'm sitting there telling the whole world he licked my booty hole day one. I mean, I think that's technically worse to admit. And she's telling her whole family. Like, I would never tell my family members that kind of tea. Like, if I told my mom or my aunt that, they'd be like, I don't want to hear that shit. But anyways, Felicia goes all the way down to Texas, and she is ready to see what the hell Rich is up to. So she pulls into his house. She pounds on his door like the police. He doesn't answer, so she's like, okay, we got one more spot he could be at. He could be at this gym because I guess he's training for something. Kind of looks like he may be training for like some kind of boxing fight or something. I don't know. It looks like he does some kind of fighting. But he's sitting there boxing, hitting the boxing bag or the punching bag or whatever. And next thing you know, she just walks into the gym. He looks over and he's like, what the hell? He looked like he saw a ghost for a minute because he was not expecting to see Felicia. And here she is supposed to be a few states away. And now here she is 3 feet away from you. I would be caught off guard too. She kind of got an attitude with him at first, but then I think she kind of felt dumb because here she is driving states away thinking that he's up to something, and here he is just working out by himself in the gym, and you can't really complain at him for doing that. And she's getting on to him, and he's like, okay, but you just drove all the way out here, so there's no way you're about to drive all the way out here without letting me take you out on a date. And she had a little smile and smirk on her face. And I will say, I can kind of see where they're compatible at first. Like, when they first got out and she walked up to him and hugged him, I'm like, okay, they're kind of cute together. But then after the way she started acting when they weren't together, I'm like, okay, does she really even like this man? Or is she just using him for a way to be on the show? And, like, because he was probably, like, the most attractive option she had in her lineup. But then, after seeing, like, the way she's smiling and how they're flirting together in the gym, I'm like, okay, I can definitely see the spark they have. And I think she feels a little deeper for him now after he licked it from the cooter to the tutor or whatever the hell she said. But that's pretty much it, guys. So I guess we're going to see them go out in the next episode, and hopefully he brings his divorce papers with him. But you guys let me know what you think about everything in the comments below. He was definitely super annoyed too when he saw it wasn't just Felicia, but Felicia brought the whole gang too. And I would be annoyed too. I mean, but she probably doesn't have a license yet, so I kind of get it. But it is what it is. But you guys let me know what you think about these two in the comments below. I hope these two don't come back for another season. To me, their storyline hasn't been that entertaining. Like, there's been parts of it that have been interesting, but a lot of it just feels like a lot of it getting dragged out and Felicia just trying to throw whatever at the wall to see what sticks, and I'm just over it at this point. Like, it's all right for a season, but we don't need 2 seasons of this shit. But let me know what you think, and thank you so much for watching.